Texas joins the list of states with NTIA approval of its BEAD final proposal. Louisiana becomes the first state to sign its BEAD grant award amendment. The FCC unanimously moves closer to auctioning a portion of the upper C-band, a massive DDoS attack thwarted by Azure, and a new name for Project Kuiper. Those stories and more on This Week in the Broadband universe. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Craig Corbin. Texas became the 16th state, along with 3 territories, to receive NTIA approval of its BEAD final proposal. Benefit of the bargain funding was finalized at $1.26 billion for Texas, more than $2 billion less than the original funding allocation of $3.31 billion. A breakdown of the nearly 243,000 funded locations across the Lone Star State will see fiber in just more than 50%, LEO satellite 27%, and fixed wireless 22.3%. The Texas final proposal has an average per location cost of $5,178. 2,000 eligible locations will remain unfunded. Prior to the Texas announcement, 15 other states, along with American Samoa, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands, received NTIA approvals. Louisiana becomes the first state to get the green light for accessing $1.36 billion in BEAD funds by signing their award agreement. Louisiana, of course, had been the first state to receive approval for their original final BEAD proposal, which came well before the restructuring policy notice in June. The FCC this week unanimously approving a notice of proposed rulemaking, which moves closer to an auction of a portion of the upper C-band between 3.98 and 4.2 gigahertz for next-gen wireless services. The Commission is required to auction a minimum of 100 megahertz by no later than July of 2027. In other FCC news, the Commission's Wireline Competition Bureau has issued an order revoking the opt-out, enabling the California Public Utilities Commission to use its own process to verify applicants to the federal Lifeline program, which helps 1.7 million low-income California citizens afford phone and internet services. At issue, recent state legislation in California making it illegal to collect Social Security numbers, which are used to verify eligibility for the Lifeline program. Elsewhere, a glitch at internet infrastructure service provider Cloudflare this week resulted in major problems for large parts of the internet, including OpenAI's ChatGPT, X, Spotify, and many more. According to Cloudflare, root cause of the outage, a configuration file automatically generating to manage threat traffic. The file grew beyond an expected size of entries and triggered a crash in the software system handling traffic for a number of Cloudflare's services. The problem was fixed within 3 hours. In other news, similar this week, the largest DDoS botnet attack in history, with more than 500,000 devices used to send 15.72 terabits per second to a single cloud endpoint in Australia. It was successfully mitigated by Microsoft's Azure. That volume of traffic, approximately the equivalent of 3.5 million Netflix movies streamed simultaneously per second. According to Microsoft, Azure DDoS protection was able to detect the attack and filter the traffic to customers remaining unaffected. Earlier this year, DDoS attack delivered 7.3 terabits per second in June, then an attack in September, 11.5 terabits per second. Elsewhere, Amazon has announced a new $3 billion data center project to be built in Mississippi, located in Warren County. This marks the second Amazon data center campus in the state. Observers now referring to a stretch of Interstate 20 where multiple data centers are being built as Mississippi's data center corridor. Another potential project in the region being explored by ExxonMobil. Bidding for Warner Brothers Discovery includes non-binding submissions from Paramount, Netflix, and Comcast. There will be another round for bidders to submit final and binding offers. Paramount thought to be in the driver's seat in part because it wants the entirety of Warner Brothers Discovery, including its less desirable assets. Amazon's 7-year-old low Earth orbit effort, Project Kuiper, has a new name, Amazon LEO. The company now has approximately 150 satellites in orbit. LEO competitor Starlink now has more than 6,750 satellites in orbit, and there will be more LEO satellites in the near future, according to a report from ABI Research. Increased involvement by China and European nations will have the number of LEO satellites in orbit reaching nearly 43,000 within the next 7 years. And finally, new rights deals for Major League Baseball, 3-year agreements now in place with ESPN, NBCU, and Netflix. Total value, a combined $800 million annually. ESPN will pay $550 million a year for a package that includes 30 national games each season. NBC Universal will pay $200 million a year for Sunday Night Baseball and the postseason Wild Card Series. And Netflix will pay $50 million a year to air just one game on opening night. But they also get the Home Run Derby and the annual MLB at Field of Dreams game as well. That's a pretty expensive opening night game for Netflix. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on This Week in the Broadband Universe.